When I first went to play for Dorothy Taubman, I thought she was a witch when she said, "Do you have backaches?" And I said, "Yes, I've always had them, but what does it have to do with piano playing?" She said, "The back muscles tighten up to keep you from falling off the piano." It's amazing to know that what we do here can hurt all the way to the back and all the way down the back and the shoulders.
So one of my big goals this year is to expand my repertoire a bit, to fill in some of the gaps of pieces that I haven't played yet. One of the pieces I picked up is Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. I was working on the third movement and having a pretty hard time with it when I remembered an extremely important principle that I had somehow not been incorporating. After decades of playing the piano, hearing it from teacher after teacher, seeing other pianists using it, advising it to my own students, I still needed to be reminded of this. Rotation. Most pianists, no matter at what level you are, have heard this term. But what exactly is rotation? And why is it so important for piano playing? What's the part of our body that's doing the rotating anyway?
The leg rotates in both directions. The arm rotates in both directions. Every finger rotates in both directions. The head rotates in both. None of that has to do with rotation.
It is primarily, though, a forearm rotation. It is not a wrist rotation. Some people talk about wrist rotation, but we cannot rotate from the wrist. The hand can't rotate without the forearm. So it's really basically a forearm rotation that we're thinking about.
Before we continue though, I would encourage you all to rotate your fingers right down to the subscribe button. We are on our way to reaching 200,000 subscribers and we need your help. So take a second and subscribe. The concept of rotation as a fundamental technique in piano playing was first written about by the British pedagogue Tobias Mate. The idea of rotation then became a fundamental principle in the work of Dorothy Taubman, whose teachings have become a really core part of many pianists' education. Over on Tonebase Premium, there is a huge catalog of work on Taubman's teachings, including lessons by Edna Golandsky and Robert Durso, in which they really break down what the Dorothy Taubman technique entails and how it can really help you become a better pianist. This information is really helpful at finding ease and greater musicality, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned professional. As always, be sure to check the link in the bio below to sign up and find out more about Tonebase and the entire catalog of amazing piano content. I'm Robert Fleitz from Tonebase, and today we're going to hear from several Tonebase artists on why rotation is important, what it even is, and how it can help you express your musical ideas with more ease and conviction. So let's go!
It's useful just to think for a little bit about what happens in the arm when we do rotation. The forearm has two bones. There's the ulna, which stays fairly static, and then there's the radius, which rotates around the ulna. So it does this movement.
And rotating at the piano consists of being in this position and rolling back to this position.
Really, the most comfortable and most natural position for the arm is the one that we're in when we're walking down the street.
See, you're at rest like this. You know, for example, the Pope blesses the people like this, never like this. So this is where the bones are parallel, see?
I always keep returning to this position because that relaxes the arm and it stops you from building up tension, which then it's difficult to release from.
And if you all want to learn how to rotate immediately, this is what you do. Pretend that you're putting a key in the door and turn the key. See? You're rotating.
One of the things that we encourage people to do is to put their arm in front of their body like this and to turn the palm of their hand towards their heart and turn it towards the floor and to observe the back of your forearm and see what you see. And what's happening is that there's a stable bone inside the arm that goes to the elbow and another bone which is revolving around that stable bone. That's very important to understand that the elbow in this direction has a certain stability.
The upper arm is moved by slow and sluggish muscles, so it's incapable of moving quickly. And you can do it without playing the piano, and you see immediately that you tire very quickly. You move the forearm, and it feels light and very easy to move, much faster. but still not fast enough for the finger motions. And this is where rotation comes into it.
Rotation's important because it enables the playing mechanism to stay connected at every moment. In other words, if I say to you that it's important to be connected finger, hand, and arm when I put a key down, I can't suddenly disconnect the mechanism and have my finger reach for the next note and feel that the playing's going to feel very good. So what rotation does is it helps us move very effectively left and right. So if I turn my forearm, I can get to many places on the keyboard, and I can do it very fast.
Now, I strongly recommend that if rotation is a problem for you, you practice quite a lot at just the interval of a fifth until that feels really loose and comfortable, and you can do it for maybe quite a few bars without getting tired. We're going to play the fifth finger and just rest on it. Really feel that the forearm is completely loose and floppy. And then start to just tap the thumb. And then you can do 2 taps. And then 3. And so on. And then you can start to add in the fifth. And so on. And only then start to extend out to greater intervals. And if your hand is very, very small, for quite some time, just stick with the 5th or the 6th. And obviously, if it's much bigger, you can go to the 7th, the octave, or even the 9th, or even the 10th if your hand is very large.
What's very interesting to discuss is what is related in a way to legato. I was taught very young, and singing tone was really emphasized in my early training. So I had a notion of just kind of squeezing the piano for the legato tone. And when Taubman showed me that it was possible to play smoothly and legato without having to squeeze the notes for legato, it was very revolutionary for me. So I'm on the 5 and I'm going to 4. What's wonderful about the rotation is that the rotational movement is playing and giving 4 the support at the same time, simultaneously. It's helping release that 5th finger off of where it's been.
It moves the music from sounding static to actually being round and moving forward. Talking about shaping, there's rotation in there. What happens if we play the G and just stop there? It doesn't sound continuous, even if I sing on it. But when I shape, even when the note is long, I continue into the quicker notes in the same way as if it was not a quick note. With finger, hand, and forearm connected together with a free forearm, not a heavy forearm. The free forearm allows me to come in a way that will produce a sound and continue into here. Even without pedaling, it will continue.
I wanted to give you an idea of why it's so important that from the very beginning, the person understands that we say sometimes the inner part of the arm is playing and the outer part is releasing that finger. And people feel a certain balance and stability on those fingers they hadn't felt before.
We're not consciously thinking about how is my arm rotating, but once we've practiced the movement and feel that it's become absorbed into our way of playing, then we have developed rotational freedom. So whenever you see a passage in a piece of music, you'll be able to use that rotation and you won't even notice that you're doing it most of the time.
Thanks for joining us today on this whirlwind exploration of rotation. And remember, this is just the beginning. On the Tonebase Premium platform, you can find the full version of all the lessons that were featured today, as well as many more courses about fundamental principles of piano technique that will help you at any level of your playing. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Be sure to check out the link in the bio below to sign up for Tonebase Premium and to watch more of these lessons. And be sure to click that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate every one of you. See you next time.